Okay, this is your review. Quiz is Thursday. This is our first of the second review, first of two reviews. All right, so the first thing says solve each equation algebraically, check on calculator. Okay, to get rid of a radical, you want to square both sides. I'll choose in red. So if you're going to square both sides, you do this. Okay, a square and a radical are inverse operations. So this cancels the radical, but the radicand, y minus 7, does not get squared. Just the radical and square cancel. But 5 doesn't have a radical, so it gets squared. So you can either put 5 squared on a calculator, or just know that 5 squared is 25. And then you have to add 7 to both sides, because that's the inverse of subtracting. And 25 plus 7 is 32. That answer is kind of high on the calculator, but I'll show you really quick. And do these on the calculator. You want to put the left side in the y1. So you do second square y. Well, I'm not going to do y minus 7. We'll do x minus 7. We don't have a y. So you do x minus 7. And then we're going to put 5 and y2. Now, if you press zoom 6, you're not going to see these intersect because we just said our answer was 32. So you see that little hook up the right? You can't see where these intersect. So what you have to do is you have to expand the x-axis. So you go to window. Window is right here where my finger is. It's window. And you want to go to x max. And we're going to change this to 50. And then press graph. Now we should see where they intersect. So we expanded the right side of our graph so that we can see where these intersect. Okay, now we can see where they intersect. So if you press trace, you want to get the spider. I always call this a spider. Just get it close to the intersection. It doesn't have to be right on it. Just needs to be close. That's close enough to me. And then press second, trace, number 5. Pressing going right down to number 5. And then you have to press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It says x equals 32. That's your answer. X. I know it says y because that's the variable we use, but it's x equals 32. Whatever is in this left-hand corner is your answer. And that's how you do it on the calculator. Okay, so in the second one, I'm going to cube both sides. Because whatever the index is, this has to match. So this cancels the cube root, and you get 2x minus 6. And 4 cubed, if you punch it in your calculator, 4 cubed is 64. To solve for x, the inverse of to subtract 6 is to add 6. And divide by 2, and x is 35. So again, we'll do one more on the calculator. Well, we might do a couple more. So on this one, you want to put the cube root. So you have to press math 4, cube root of 2x minus 6. That goes in y1, and y2 it is 4. Since we already have a nice long x-axis, we should be able to see this one. So that's what a cube root looks like. Remember, a cube root looks like a snake? And then the next one should be a line y equals 4. They intersect. Press trace, get the spider close to that. And then press second trace, 5, enter, enter, enter. You'll notice down here in the left-hand corner, x is 35. Okay, so for the next one, both sides have a square root. So we're going to square both sides. So both of these radicals are going to cancel, and you're going to get the radicand x plus 4 equals the radicand 2x minus 5. Get x on the same side, so we'll get rid of this. And then we're going to add 5. X equals 9. Sometimes instead of graphing it, you can just see if it works by plugging it in. So like for example, if you plugged in a 9 plus 4 up here, 9 plus 4 is 13. And 2 times 9 is 18. 18 minus 5 is 13. So radical 13 equals radical 13. So that's another way you can see if your answer is right. On the next one, you have a 4th root, so you have to be careful here. First thing you have to do is isolate the radical. That means the radical should be by itself. This 3 is the reason it's not by itself. So we should get rid of this first because it's not part of the radical. Now it's isolated. So to get rid of the fourth root, you have to raise each side to the fourth power. This number should match this number. So you have 2x minus 9 equals 3 to the fourth. If you punch that in the calculator, it is 81. Add 9, and x is 45. Next one, square root. Again, isolate the radical. Isolate radical. So you have square root of 2x minus 3 equals 3. We're going to square both sides. 2x minus 3 equals 9. Add 3. X is 6. Let's just quickly plug this in. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. This one's going to be harder because we have this x that we're moving to the other side. And we have a negative. So this one's going to be tough. So hold on. Subtract x. So you get negative. Bring this negative. Square root of x minus 2 equals negative x plus 4. Now I need to isolate the radicals. I need to get rid of the negative 2. So I want to divide both sides by negative 1. So now we have x minus 2. These two, if you divide, you get a positive x. If you divide these two, you get a negative 4. So dividing by a negative 1 just switches each sign to its opposite. So now, this is where the tough part goes. That part was actually the easy part. To get rid of a radical, you have to square both sides. But this side is a binomial. So when you square this, you're going to have to FOIL this. So the square and the radical cancel, you get x minus 2. Now I'm going to FOIL x minus 4 off to the side over here. X minus 4 squared looks like this. X times x is x squared. Minus 4x, minus 4x, 16. For x squared minus 8x plus 16. If you add these two together, you get that. So these terms are going to go here. Now, whenever you have an x squared, it means you have two answers. So you need to set this side equal to 0. So we're going to subtract x and add 2. Subtract x and add 2 to the other side. And that's going to give us a x squared minus 9x, because negative 8 and negative 1 is negative 9. And 16 and 2 is 18. Then this is equal to 0. And now we have to factor this. X and x minus 6 minus 3. Factors of 18 that add up to negative 9 are negative 6 and negative 3. Set each factor equal to 0. And you get 6 and 3. Now usually if you have two answers, only one of them works. So I'm just going to check the calculator to see what this looks like. There's two ways to check it. You can plug them in, or you can plug these in the calculator. These are good ones to plug into the calculator. So the left side was x minus the square root of x minus 2. This it's equal to 4 here, so we're going to put 4 in this y2, and we're going to press graph. It looks like they only intersect once, so one of these answers is wrong. It's either 6 or it's 3, so we're going to press trace. We're going to move the slider, press right arrow. I'm pressing right arrow, this arrow right here, to move the slider onto the screen. Oops, you know what? I got to press left arrow. The reason, you look right here, I'm at 20. You guys see that number right there? That's too high. So we're going to go left arrow, this arrow, to move it back close to like our answers that were 3 and 6. Now, do you see the spider coming onto the screen now? By using left arrow, I get the spider onto the screen. This has to be close to the intersection point to see it. Now press second, trace, intersect. Enter, enter, enter. The answer is 6. It's not 3. So 6 is the answer. 3 is extraneous. Let's just plug 3 in to show you that it doesn't work. This is 3 minus. 3 minus 2 is 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. It's not 4. That's why 3 doesn't work. And if we would have plugged in 6, 6 minus 2 is 6 minus square root of 4, which is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4, and 6 does work. This one, I think that we should just do it on the calculator. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to do this work. So let's just do this hard ones. Let's do the hard ones on the calculator. So we're going to do square root of x minus 3. Press your right arrow to get it out of the radical. See how it's blinking outside the radical? And then I'm going to plus x plus square root of x plus 5. So plus square root of x plus 5. Make sure these are separate radicals like that. You see how they're separate? Now under y2, we're going to type in 5, because that's what it equals, 5. We're going to press graph. Looks like there's one answer. Now we're going to press trace to see where the spider is. The spider is on the screen. That's good. So just move the spider with your left arrow close to the intersection point. See that spider there? Press second trace, intersect number 5, enter 3 times. The answer is 5.89. Interesting answer, huh? 5.89. This one for sure is going to be on the calculator. I'm not going to show you how to do these because they're too hard. Square root of 3x plus 4. Use your right arrow to get out of that, minus 1. And then the second one is square root of 2x plus 1. Okay, so you see how I have that typed in? Press graph. Ooh, interesting, huh? Trace. Let's get this close. It looks like they're intersecting down here somewhere. Press second trace, intersect. 1, 2, 3. The answer is 4. The answer is 4. I don't feel like I put that last one. I'm going to redo that last one. I think 5.89 is a weird answer. Don't you guys think? I'm going to redo that first one. Did I do it right? Do x minus 3 plus square root of x plus 5. X minus 5. 5.
I'm so glad. Another game. It's a fresh start for you, bro. I
Second trace, intersect, 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, I got 10.29 this time. What is the answer? I got 10.29 that time. I don't know what. I'm going to have to do this one by hand. Oh, I'm just going to come back to this one. All right, 9. We're finding the hypotenuse. This is the Pythagorean theorem. So we're trying to find the hypotenuse. That's C. So we know, I don't care which one's A and which one's B. We'll let this be A and this be B. So we have 6 squared plus 3 squared equals x squared, because that's what C is. 36 plus 9 equals x squared. 45 equals x squared. Square root both sides. Factor tree. 5 and 9. 9 is 3 and 3. There's 2 3s, so this is 3 square root of 5. Answer. And the number 10, they give you the hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse. This is the diagonal. This is C. So we'll call this A and we'll find B. So here's your A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Make sure the hypotenuse, the diagonal, is always by itself. We have 4 squared plus B squared equals 12 squared. 16 plus B squared equals 144. Subtract 16, B squared equals 144 minus 16, which is 1, I don't know what that is. What is 144 minus 16? 128. So we're going to take square root of both sides, and we're going to do the factor tree for 128, which is 2 and 64, 2 and 32, 2 and 16, 2 and 8, 2 and 4, 2 and 2. For each pair of twos, one comes out. So 1, 2 comes out, another 2 comes out, another 2 comes out, and this last 2 is underneath. 7, 2. So that's 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, square root of 2. That's your answer. The tallest structure in the United States is the TV tower in Blanchard, North Dakota. Its height is 2,063 feet. Okay, so this is a TV tower right here. This is the TV tower right there. Its height is, okay, a 2382 foot length wire is used as a guy wire attached to the top of the tower. All right, so we're going to anchor this wire. So we're going to anchor this wire. And the wire, it says, is 2,382 feet. And then it says approximately the nearest foot, how far from the base of the tower. So here's the base of the tower, how far it must be anchored. We're going to anchor it here. So they want to know this length. How far from the base of the tower should it be anchored? So we're finding a side. This is the hypotenuse. That's C. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the 2382 is the longest side. That's over here. 2,063 squared is over here. And then we don't know b squared. Now it does say to the nearest foot. So we're going to use a decimal this time. We're not going to use a factor tree, thank goodness. But 2,063 squared is this huge number. Rather than do this huge number, how about we just subtract this whole thing over here as a square and do the square root of all of this. We'll do the square root of 2,382 squared minus 2,063 squared all at once. So we don't have to do big numbers. So we have the square root of 2382 squared minus 2,063 squared. All of it at once is 1190.7. They said to the nearest foot, so we're going to go 1191. That's what this is, 1191 feet. That's our answer. Okay, so this is about police cars skidding. The skid distance is represented by square root of 10.5 squared. So S is X is the speed of the car in miles per hour. So this right here is miles per hour. So if you know that, you can figure this out if you know the distance skidded in feet, which this usually can be measured. Like if you go up on an accident, they can take a tape measure and measure the skid mark. And they can figure out from the skid mark how fast you were going by just putting that in there. So how fast was the car moving if it skidded 280 feet? This is an easily measured number. So you can go 10.5 times 280. You just punch this in and it'll tell you how fast you were going. That's how they figure out in car accidents, since they weren't there when it happened, how fast the driver was going. So you just multiply all that, you put it in the calculator, and you press equals. So that means he was going about 54.2 miles an hour. So if you were in a 25 mile per hour zone, you would get ticketed. If you were on the freeway, you would probably get ticketed for going too slow. This one, leaves in simplest radical form if needed. We're going to bring an I out first. Then we're going to use a factor tree. So we're going to bring a 2 out with the I. So there's the 2. There's already an I out here. And then 2 and 3 are by themselves, so you multiply them, and that's your answer. Bring the I out. I believe 121 is 11 times 11, right? So that's a perfect square, so that's 11i, which you can punch that right in the calculator. This one, bring the I out, and do a factor tree for 20. 20 is 2 and 10. 10 is 2 and 5. We're going to bring a 2 out with the 4i, so that's going to make that an 8i, because there was already a 4 out there. We brought a 2 out, and then the 5 is left underneath, and that's your answer. On this one, bring an I out, bring another I out. That becomes I squared. And then 2 and 7 is 14. Now 14 is just 2 and 7, so you can't bring one out. So you can't do anything to 14, but I squared by definition is -1. So your answer is -14. This one, bring the I out of the 27, and then multiply 3 and 27 is 81. The square root of 81 is 9. So the answer is 9i. Again, this one can be on the calculator, and this one can be done on the calculator. This one is I radical 80, I radical 10. The i's cancel, and 80 divided by 10 is 8. Factor tree for 8 is 2 square root of 2. That's your answer. Can someone pass these out for me? I'm making a video for this review. It'll be done in like 1 minute. But I'm going to be helping people too. 7, add the real part, add the imaginary part. 7 plus I. This can be done right on the calculator. Make sure you're in complex numbers and try it. It actually says right here to use the graphing calculator for all of these. I like to do these by hand, but 6 minus 8 is negative 2. 5i plus I is 6i. But I'm going to show you how to do this on the calculator. So we have parentheses. We're going to have parentheses 6 plus 5i. Remember, I is second decimal. Minus 8 minus decimal. Negative 2 plus 6i. So I'm going to let you guys do the rest of this. The only one that I want to do for you, because the rest of these you can do on the calculator. This one, 25, make sure you put parentheses around both those. And on I to the 9th, sometimes it's best if you break these up into as many I squareds as you can. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 i's. I squared is negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times I. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 1 times I. This answer should be I. Some of your calculators will get that for you. Some of them, you're going to have to do this. Do the rest of these on the calculator.